Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. It's time for Mystical Monday. Let's let everybody come on in. I am your host, Dr. Dawn, and tonight we are going to be talking about a plethora of things. And so before we get started, let's just let everybody come in the room. We'll play a little intro to give people time to come in. Let's do that. Let's go. Hello, hello, hello. It's Dr. Dawn. Hi, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. It's Mystical Monday. Thank you for joining me tonight. All right, we are back. I see people are coming in. I was trying to give you guys a little bit of time to come on in the room, in the chat. I am your host, Dr. Dawn, and this is Mystical Monday. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, let me give you a little insight into who I am. I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. And so what that means is I am the go-between between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. I'm the one in the middle kind of relaying messages from the spiritual realm to the collective. That's what I do on Monday nights. In my one-on-one sessions, I relay information from your spirit team to you. You see, everybody has a spirit team. From the time you get here to the time you leave, you have spirit guides who are assisting you, guiding you, encouraging you every step of the way. These guides could consist of higher dimensional beings of light, angels, deceased loved ones, multi-dimensional beings, ancestors, you name it. Beings of divine light come in the masses, and there are so many that you can't even name them all. But you guys all have them assigned to you. And so what I do is I introduce you to them, I let you communicate with them, and I give you insight and messages that they have for you at that time that they've been trying to give to you, but you just aren't listening, or you just aren't following the directions, or you just need confirmation that you are hearing them. So that's what I do one-on-one. If you want more information about me, please visit my website at www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. Okay, so we're going to let people come in, and I want to tell you guys, I want to touch on something, because part of why I do Mystical Monday is, one, so I can connect with the collective, but two, I like the live chat where you guys get to be a part of the discussion. You get to ask questions, you get to comment, you get to kind of put your 2 cents in a little bit, because ultimately on this evolution of the planet, it requires all of us to share our experiences. And I think sometimes we forget that. We always think we're supposed to follow a way of being that the masses are following, because that's been our conditioning, that's been our programming, that's been our way of being for centuries. That's all we kind of know. And so to actually say that your experience is unique and it's meaningful and it's part of this ascension process for the planet is like a huge undertaking for some people. They just can't really adapt to that concept because they're not used to being in the lead. They're used to following. And so I like doing this because I like to show the similarities and the insights that we can all share with each other as it relates to our journeys, because there is no right or wrong way to do this. There is no one leader that is leading us doing this. We're all collectively navigating this process, and in the process we're sharing our experiences with each other, which is helping to enlighten all of our awareness and increase all of our frequencies and getting all of us kind of in alignment with moving towards the quote unquote new earth, right? The new earth. And so now that we're in a whole nother portal now, we're in the Lionsgate portal. I'm not going to really talk about that tonight because we did so much on that 777 quantum portal the entire month of July, since there were 3 portals. That was a lot. I don't want to portal you guys out. So we're going to shift gears kind of tonight. And I am on all platforms. Well, not all platforms, but Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Those are the ones I frequent the most. And so on TikTok, I realized that there are a plethora of people sharing their spiritual experiences. And so sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just don't, because your ego doesn't always have to be at the forefront of coming up with new content or content that nobody else is doing, because guess what? We're all kind of doing the same thing, but we're doing it in our way. And so I came across, some videos that I want to kind of talk about tonight. They can lead us in our discussion, okay? So I'm going to play the first video where this woman is kind of telling us now about the effects of the shift as it relates to our new physical awareness of our physical bodies, our soul, just all of that. And I think it's a good way to get moving into this discussion. So let me bring her in and we will listen and hear what she has to say.
The planet that you live on right now is not the same as the planet that you were born to. The body that you're living in is not even the same cellular matrix as the one you were born with. See, the body that you were born with was born to a false matrix. The reality that you were born into was one of enslavement. It looked very normal, and your memory tells you, I'm still in the same place, I'm still the same person. The truth is, you're still the same soul. The reality around you has shifted so entirely and so completely. The body that you were born to was born to enslavement, to always be subservient to others. It was born to be an order taker at some level. Even for the greatest rebels among us, there was some level of enslavement and old programming sitting in those bodies. They were born not to ascend, they were born instead to limitation and subservience. The body you're in right now is here to expand and evolve and ascend in consciousness so that you would eventually transfigure, not just transform, but transfigure from a 3rd dimensional physical body into a 5th dimensional physical body. The body that you're living in is capable of doing that because it's restructured itself so many times. So you're being asked to see, wow, this life that I'm living is no ordinary life. It's miraculous, and you are extraordinary.
Okay, so look, I love that she put all of that in there, because I put up a post and I basically told everybody today, you're moving forward right now, whether you see the effects of that forward movement or not, because you don't have a choice in the frequency that we're in right now. And so she kind of touched on what I was kind of talking about. So look, when we say the frequency is shifting, or we shifted timelines, which we did as a result of those 3 portals that we had, we've all shifted timelines. And I got a lot of people who said, I can't tell. What if you can't tell the difference? Does that mean you didn't shift? Does that mean, it didn't affect you? No, that's not what it means. It means that your shifting may have been subtle to you because you're not in awareness of what that shift entails. So again, on my Instagram, I posted a video yesterday of my husband, his arm, his left arm. It was twitching. His muscles were twitching. He was at rest. He wasn't lifting weights, doing anything. He was just sitting there and his muscles were twitching. And so, I said, can you feel that? And he didn't even realize they were twitching. So I was videoing it, showing him all the twitches. And he was like, oh my God, I didn't even feel it. Well, guess what? As we're shifting, it will affect your physical body. And so things that are happening to you, you may not be equating to the shift. So when you say, oh, it's not affecting me in any way, or oh, I don't feel like I've switched timelines, well, people are looking for a dramatic like awareness of shifting timelines. Like, oh, I woke up and I was in somebody else's bed, or oh, I woke up and the sky was a different color, or oh, I woke up and it felt like I was walking on air. Like, they're looking for the dramatic kind of things to happen to show that you shifted timelines. That's not quite how it's going to happen for a lot of people. It's going to be these subtle kind of nuances that you pick up on every day. It may be now the way you perceive people when you're around them. You used to maybe be able to be around people and you could hold a conversation and you could maybe maintain eye contact, and whether you like talking to them or not, you probably could sit there and be polite and smile and nod. Well, now you may not be able to do it. Now you may be in this conversation in midstream. Something within you says, go, or remove yourself, or stop. And so you'll start doing things that you feel are out of character, but you are now doing things that are supporting, moving you into alignment and supporting you being in a higher frequency. Okay, so it appears differently. Okay, it appears differently on the video that she talked about. She talked about our cellular bodies and structures. Okay, so she wanted to get more specifically into the nuances of this human avatar, because again, remember, the ultimate place that this human avatar is going is to a place of being a light body, a less dense body that doesn't have all of this flesh and this skin and this weight, and it's going to be lighter. And so you're going to start doing things that support moving into this light body, perhaps by changing your diet, perhaps by not being able to tolerate certain things like you used to, like certain seasonings or spices, or you may used to eat hot sauce, but now you can't eat it because it just really aggravates you a lot. Or you may have been into drinking or eating dairy and you just can't, or you're not even wanting to now. Something within you is saying, ooh, push that away, or ooh, no. Let me tell you, I was looking at some meat being cooked and I saw the blood coming out of the meat and I was like, ooh, I don't want that. Like, I can't, like, just, I'm thinking now, like, ugh, like, it's just a lot of things that are happening now to, like, change us in ways that we weren't before, not just these portals, but before this timeline shift. Okay, so I want you guys to stay in an awareness of this timeline shift, because things are going to be happening and you're going to be asking yourself, like, oh my goodness, why is this happening? Or why am I feeling this way? Or why am I acting that way? You're not out of the norm. You are lining up. You're lining up to where you're trying to get to. Now, let me clarify for you guys what a timeline is, because I'm just assuming a lot. So let me backtrack one more time. When we think timelines, we think linear. So I'm going to try to explain it like that, in that way. So in our human mind, we think of timelines like, okay, I'm 50 now. When I was 20, that was 30 years ago. No, let me not do 20. I'm 50 now. When I was 18, let's do that. That was over 30 years ago, right? So you feel like you're moving along the timeline in a linear way in terms of your age, right? Well, timeline, as we're referring to as it relates to this, means in relation to where you're trying to go. So let's say my goal or my optimal timeline has me as a well-established entrepreneur, public speaking, spiritual teacher that is well known, okay, internationally. Let's say that's my timeline. That's where I'm trying. That's where my goal is to get to, okay? So if I were to shift timelines right now, this is an example of what could happen when I shift timelines. I could have a sporadic or spontaneous spike in followers or visibility, or out of the blue, someone who didn't notice me before may just happen to see me. And it doesn't matter that I don't have thousands and millions of followers, because I've shifted timelines. So now it's possible to be visible without having all of the preliminary kind of things that we go through, or we think we have to go through to get to that point. So a timeline will allow you to jump, if you will, from where you are to a space that is closer to where you're trying to get to. All right. So I felt the shift I really did, because I kept feeling inspired to get up, do things differently, to do more. So I updated my website. I did a collaboration with someone. I did a lot of spiritual readings, live spiritual readings. You guys know, if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, last 2-3 weeks I've been doing them like crazy. That portal opening has pushed me into that place of being encouraged, motivated, and energized, and a new direction to kind of go in. And so that's what's happening to a lot of people, even if it's not that dramatic like what I'm saying mine is. You have been pushed or guided slowly into some different direction that supports what you were doing. You probably just aren't cognizant of it. So now you have to get in the cognizance, the awareness of it, by remembering where you're trying to get to, because a lot of us have forgotten. Most people just say, oh, I want abundance, I want wealth, I want money, but you forgot the whole plan that you put in place to try to get there. You forgot the things that came to your mind that gave you suggestions on how to get to that point, because you got lost probably in the whole concept of worrying, or you can't figure it out, so you got frustrated and said forget it, and so you kind of moved off of the track a little bit. So now revisit where you're trying to get to, so that you not only realize where you are on the timeline shift, but you can start to see daily how you're being moved along on this particular timeline to get you where you're going. Okay. Where are my people in the chat? Where are my chat people? I see some people on here, but I don't see anybody chit-chatting. Where are you? Let me know you're there. Say hello. Thank you. Hi. Don't be shy now. You guys come in the chat because we got to talk. Hello. Thank you. Appreciate it, Hamster and Patricia. Thank you. Hello to you too. So if you keep hearing all over about this timeline shift, that's what it is. We've all shifted. And so some of us are in awareness, some of us are not. So I want you to get in awareness and stay in awareness, because guess what? You have to be able to co-create what you're trying to manifest. You can only co-create what you're trying to manifest if you're aware of where you are in the process and what you're doing. Thank you so much, Hamster. Thank you. So let's get into where we are and where we're trying to go. All right. And to understand, our cellular bodies are just following kind of the energy that we're putting out in terms of where we're trying to go to. Okay. And these cellular bodies, like I told you guys, my husband with the muscle twitches, you guys are going to be, these physical bodies are going to be doing some things during this time, some unexpected, weird things. And it's okay, because they're just responding to the upgrade and the timeline shift. You got to remember, you're still in the physical avatar. So when you shift timelines, your avatar had to switch too. And so it's going to be feeling the effects of this switch. Hello to you too. Okay, so let's recap for the people who are just coming on. We are talking tonight about how this timeline shift that has occurred now. We know that there were 3 portal openings in the month of July, each one very powerful, each one opening up the floodgates to not just frequency, but opportunity and our awareness, and getting us closer and in alignment with where we're trying to go. Okay. And so we were talking about some of the things that you may see physically, as well as physically with your avatar, as well as in your environment, as a result of this timeline shift. And so some of you, as I said, you may be interacting a little differently with people. That's first. You may start to have a different type of reaction towards certain foods, or the way you used to eat, or things you used to drink. It's okay, because remember, part of this avatar shifted. You may have a different attitude or perspective as it relates to different topics, or ideas or things like that. Well, I was trying to give you an example. I always try to use me, but I'm trying to think of something where I kind of shifted my perspective, but I can't think of anything offhand. But you know what I mean? You may have had something that you were so against at one point, and you just couldn't see yourself being involved with it, talking about it, and then now you're looking at it like, well, wait a minute, I can see how that is, or that's not a real difficult thing to grasp, concept to grasp. Oh, I see what they mean. You're going to start being like that, because now remember, part of you as you evolve, there will be minimal judgment. There's no differences or looking at or finding differences. You're going to focus more on the similarities and what you have in common with others versus what's different. That's what you're going to see with the shift. You're going to start being more open and understanding. And let me give you the flip side. You're going to start being less tolerable of things. You're going to have your boundaries set on the minimum. You're not going to let people take you to the max anymore before you put up a boundary. You're going to let them know either right up front or in the beginning. You're not going to stretch it out no more, because energetically you don't have it to do it anymore. That's part of that shift. You shifted up, you upgraded. So you can't do those things that cause you to be in a low vibration like you used to. You can't. It just won't work. It's not going to sync well with you, okay? It'll be a different wavelength. So let's understand, as we shift, or we're in this timeline shift, if you will, you're going to start noticing a lot of things. It's okay. Be mindful of what they are. Take note of what they are, and realize it is part of the movement forward, okay? All right, so that's talking about a little bit about our cellular structures, what we may experience as it relates to our personal and environmental things. I got another video I want to share with you from Tick of the Talk, and let's look at what he has to say. It's a little different, but we're going to talk about it.
The planet that you live on right now is not the same.
Not him, not her. Sorry. Woohoo. Let me get the right person. Here he is.
The next 10 years are going to be crazy. You see, as we enter the age of Aquarius, we also enter into the fourth industrial revolution. Technology is going to advance so fast in the next decade, it's going to make the internet seem primitive. And a lot of people won't be able to keep up. AI and automation is going to disrupt every industry. Biotech is going to create the possibility for human immortality. Blockchain technology will create generational wealth for the people that's smart enough to utilize it properly. Houses will be built by 3D computers. The Internet of Things in conjunction with VR will create the ability to be anywhere in the world and experience what's happening in real time. See, in the future, there's not going to be an IG and a Facebook and all of these different apps. Everything is going to become one in a seamless, integrated, augmented reality experience. People's minds are going to awaken, and you're going to see free energy technology be introduced. We're going to reach a point where manual labor will be optional. Everything will be free, because once the collective consciousness gets to a certain level, the collective reality will shift. See, eventually you won't even need money, because money will be replaced by data, right? Now, the flip side of this is not everybody will make it. Some people will choose to stay in the old world.
Okay, so he covered quite a bit, if you will, and he went into areas that I don't usually delve into, just because people who are not of the awareness, we'll call them conspiracy theories and things like that. But I think now we're more into an awareness that we recognize that this stuff is happening in front of us right now, so it's not too far off. And so now we're kind of getting into it. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what he's talking about and what he's saying. Because remember, we're still on this shifting. We are still moving and changing timelines, okay? Someone, Intuitive Warrior, says, sounds like an AI world. Not sure that excites me. I agree. It doesn't excite me at all either. Just because we're not the first planet to do this. We're merely following in succession in terms of what other planets have done. The only difference is Earth is one of the few planets to where our emotional conscious component plays a huge factor, okay? So look, the AI component, he talked about Bitcoin, he talked about how, we're going to have homes that are going to be, how we're going to have to be able to virtually travel, without physically actually going. So it's like a virtual world. We already know that's where we're headed. People start talking about Bitcoin and what that entails. Nobody could really explain what it was. They was like, oh, it's digital currency, but it's not. And people weren't able to really explain what it is. Well, it almost sounds like we're going to be inside a video game, so to speak, with avatars and so forth and so on, kind of like we are now. And some people make the joke, it's a matrix inside of a matrix inside of a matrix. But the thing about it is, there are certain beings that from certain planets that are really at the forefront of trying to move this forward. And so it's kind of like, how with humans we always talk about it's not good or bad, but we have beings who are like humans that have good intentions for the planet and some that have not so much good intentions in terms of maybe kind of like a takeover, so to speak, where it can still stay under the ruling or governance, if you will, of another group. Okay, so we got these two kind of groups kind of meshing it out a little bit. So it's going to be up to us as the humans that are having this experience to, I always tell you guys, discernment. You got to be able to feel your way through what feels right, what sounds right, what appears to line up, alignment with ascending the planet and making us all one and making things be at a higher vibration and frequency, because on the outer surface, some of this stuff gonna look good and it's gonna sound good. I can't tell you how many people are so into the AI right now as it relates to content creation, because it can speed up the process, like you don't even have to come up with like what you want to say. If you want a certain topic, the AI can give you all the information on the topic and you can just read it, or the AI can read it. Or if you want to create content and get more followers, AI is kind of doing it for you. And so everybody's like, yay, yay, yay. No. It's this part right here, this human emotional connection part, that is going to get lost in that. And then ultimately some feel as if we are going to put the AI in a position to where it will be at the forefront and we will be in the background. That's what some people think, because they're going by what has happened on other planets that have done this, that have done this same thing. However, I think I believe as humans, if we hold on, because collectively, remember now, everything is feeding off of our energy. We are the energy keepers of the quantum field here. Like we have a large part to play in how this frequency and how this field sustains itself. And so it's going to be up to us to collectively come together at a point to try to preserve the human connection of this thing. Intuitive Warrior says, might have to create my own timeline to ascension, less the AI. That's a thought for you, because we are co-creators in our experience. And I'm doing it now so far. And some of that is due to my naiveness of not really understanding or knowing all the nuances of AI, but my timeline doesn't really include it because I don't know it and I'm not trying to learn it. So that's a good point, Intuitive Warrior. Your timeline can only include what you include in it, because you're the co-creator of your reality. And so a lot of people are looking at the fact that it's pushing us pushing us into that kind of thing. He even mentioned on his video, he says probably it's not going to be Instagram, Facebook, like all these separate forms or platforms for social media. He's like, it's going to all merge to be one, like one whole thing, which I can see that I can see coming, that I know is coming. And so I can even feel myself moving a little more towards one platform, or putting more energy into one platform versus all of them. Because who told us that it was a bright idea to be on multiple platforms? See, we were conditioned to think more is better. So let's get on as many as we can. Let's upload videos as many as we can. No, nobody, that's the programming. We've been programmed that more is better. That is not the case. And I'm seeing that on my own. And I'm actually downsizing my platforms because I got caught up in that program. And so, Intuitive Warrior, excellent point. If we stay cognizant and in the mindful state that it can only create what we allow it to, then we can use it at a minimum when or if we have to, right? I mean, now it seems like it is for convenience or extracurricular. It's not a necessity yet. You know how it goes though. It starts out like, oh, look at this, and oh, it's optional, and then and then it moves to this is how it is. We saw that in banking. Like with banking, remember we used to write checks and we used to do all that stuff, and then banks kind of said, we're paperless now. We're not doing that no more. So you don't have a choice. You got to go to online banking, and you didn't really have a choice. It's going to be the same thing kind of with AI. But look, let's talk about this. We know, I'm getting way out there now. We know that ultimately AI it could lead to, well, this is a different topic, but that they are doing things to kind of create animals artificially, kind of, so to speak. In my mind, it starts with animals, but then it goes to what? Humans, to where you won't need a birthing portal. You won't need women to have babies and procreate. They'll be able to just create them, right? And so when you get to that point, then pretty much the human part has diminished from this. Because look, other planets, this birthing process that we have coming through the portal of the woman, the womb of the woman to get here is not how it's done on other planets. So just knowing where this thing could go, you're going to be responsible for ultimately keeping your timeline where you need and want it to be. Intuitive Warrior says, yep, where we give our energy, we give our consent. So use AI as a tool, but not let it swallow you up. I agree 100%. I'll use it if it can assist me in some way, but when you start using it in replacement of, that's when it starts to gets a little weird. I'm going to tell you something too, you guys. Let's talk about this. So because I'm in the area that I'm in, the spiritual community, I have the opportunity to collaborate with different people, to experience people who are doing different things as it relates to spirituality, because we're all kind of doing our own thing and we're all in our own lanes a lot of times. And I'm noticing that I can now detect when there are beings here that are not all human. Now, let me clarify that, because none of us are all human, right? We all migrated from different planets. Okay. I mean beings who have made agreements with humans to occupy their bodies to function in the human condition while we're going through this ascension. So ultimately, I'm dealing with like real life aliens in human bodies that are aliens that have asked the humans, hey, can I borrow your body, and so forth and so on. Just stay with me here. And so one of the things I'm noticing, it doesn't freak me out, doesn't scare me, because this is going to be the norm. This is coming. I mean, it's here. They've always been here, but now we're in a state of awareness to where we see them, we know them, we recognize them, for those of us who are in tuned and tapped into it. So I've actually communicated with quite a few of them. And you know what? You know how they stand out? I'm gonna give you guys a little inside tip. They don't understand like phrases that we use in like everyday kind of culture things, or they don't do well with humor, like jokes. They won't always get it, because you got to understand, humans get the jokes because in essence they're from the human experience. And if you ain't a human and you are coming and inhabiting a human body, and you are coming here like trying to navigate this, jokes are a very difficult thing. Humor is very difficult. I can always tell a being that is out of place in terms of adjusting to their human body, because they don't get humor, they have very little to no affect, and their speech it seems as if it's rehearsed or it's a script. I'm telling you guys this because I want you to be in a state of awareness. Don't be afraid, because we're going to have this as the planet ascends, because you got beings that are coming here to help and assist. We call them walk-ins. You got walk-ins, but then you have other ones too that are walking in, but they ain't coming to assist. They're coming to maybe help do some other stuff. So you are going to have to be mindful now of who you talking to and who you dealing with. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I'm noticing that. And like I said, because I'm in the spiritual community, you guys, there's a whole lot of them in front of you now, kind of doing as I'm doing, being the spiritual kind of teacher and guide and so forth and so on. But they really are doing a little something different. So your discernment, your awareness, and your connectedness to your intuition is going to be very much so needed at this time. So Intuitive Word says, careful though, as I find same issue with autistic people. Very good that you brought up autistic people. I can tell the difference between autistic people, one, because I'm a speech pathologist and I've had training and experience in working with autistic children. So I can not only know that energy, but I know the characteristics of an autistic child. And so, or autistic person, adult. The one thing I can say that would make these two beings seem drastically different is an autistic person may make the attempt at engagement, and the engagement would be at a level where you would know that they were attempting some method of communication to fit the particular situation. These beings I'm talking about don't have a clue. Literally, like an autistic person may do an autistic behavior if the communication isn't there. These beings will do nothing. There is absolutely nothing. A blank, zoned out, frozen, nothing. An autistic person very seldom does that. They'll give you some kind of concomitant behavior, movement, or of some sort, but not these beings, if that makes sense. And so, good you brought up autistic children, or autistic people. I'm sorry, not children. But I never thought of them because, like I said, that's my background. I've had experience with that, and they don't compare at all to the beings I'm talking about at all. So you guys just be mindful of when this starts to come up and when you start to see this, because you're going to start seeing it. I've seen we got soulless souls here. You know, those people are just plants. Like, they're literally just here to record, like take data, just to be fillers in the matrix, just to take up an energy space. They literally, you can tell them, I should have gotten it off TikTok. That darn TikTok. That's why they're trying to get rid of it, because the people are out here catching everything. There was a person when Congress talked about the UFO thing or the aliens last week or whatever. There was a man standing behind the congressman. I don't know if you guys saw this. Somebody posted it on TikTok. And he didn't blink. His eyes didn't blink. His face was not really humanesque. You could tell it had some characteristics of a being that was not totally human, and the person was spotlighting them on their TikTok, and they said, look at his face, he has no expression, he's not blinking, he's just there. It's everywhere. People are noticing it now. We're all seeing it, and it doesn't freak us out, just like it didn't freak anybody out last week when they told us about the aliens. Everybody's like, okay, tell us something we don't already know. I mean, we knew that. And so you can see how we're shifting timelines, because that doesn't even bother us. Now, try to have that press conference or had that congressional meeting 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We would have been all in an uproar. Like, it would have been like, woo, everybody would have been, feeling some kind of way. But now it's just like, whatever, because we're beyond that. We're beyond that now. A lot of people are starting to recognize not just the alien within them. Like I said, people are starting to shout out now what planet they're from. Hey, I'm from Pleiades. Hey, I'm from Sirius. Hey, I'm from Andromeda. Like, now we are latching on to our alien DNA and where we come from and our origin of our soul. Like, we got that. We're good with that. People are now at the point where they're like, okay, show it to me. Come on. If y'all here, let's get to it. Let's interact. What we're doing. What do you all want? Like, that's where everybody is now. Everybody's into the let's have some communication and some dialogue and show yourselves. Everybody's, not everybody, but most people are in that state of awareness that they're accepting and eager to do this. So that should show you guys that we are shifting or have shifted a timeline. Let me bring it back though. I'm going to pull it back a little more to your everyday, okay? Because I went out there a little bit for you guys and went way out. Your everyday life, you guys, things are going to start getting easier. Do you understand that? You are in a point of this timeline where it's not hard anymore. Like, literally, if you find yourself in a state of confusion or fear or uncertainty, all you got to do is sit with it. Sit with it and wait for the guidance. I had a family member who reached out to me. Like, I was the one in my family that my lifetime, I want to people please. I want everybody to be happy. I was into, like just the family dynamic. I wanted just to be the one, the go-to for everybody, because I wanted to help everybody. I wanted to just do for everybody. And so if people needed money, I was like, well, how much? And, don't worry about paying it back. It was just all of that. I would put myself under to make sure that other people could have or do or be happy, because that used to make me happy. Well, now I don't even have the thought process when people say they're having something go wrong, or, they have a bill that needs to be paid, or something is getting ready to cut off. Like, I used to strike into action and, okay, well, let me see what I can do. I don't even do that anymore. You know why? Because all I tell them is just wait on it. Wait on the direction and the guidance. Wait on the response to how you're going to get through it. And people look at me like, what do you mean wait it off? Like, I got a they'll say, I got a disconnect notice for Friday, and it's Monday. Like, I can't wait. Yeah, you can. Wait on it. The answer is going to be shown to you. Like, just wait on it. Like we're in a point now where the guidance that you need is coming. Whenever you find yourself in a position or predicament, don't panic. The guidance is coming. The answer is coming. And so, to give you an example on that particular, to give you more feedback on the example I just gave you, there was a family member of mine who was at risk for their lights being cut off if they didn't pay, because they had a disconnect notice. And it was like, okay, what? It was Monday when they told me this, and it was due Friday. By Wednesday night, that person called me back and said, you know what? They told me that there was, based on my address, my zip code, where I lived at, I was eligible for, and then they said some kind of certificate for something. I don't know some certificate or something that they didn't even know about. What? And then it was resolved. And I said, well, what made you, how did you know to even ask about that? And he said, well, I didn't, but I called back and they told me the first time I wasn't eligible for another payment arrangement. And so I called back and said, hey, I just don't have it. And I got, they told him I got children. I can't be without it in this at this time or what. So they said, well, the person on the other end said, well, what's your zip code? And then they did something and found that they were eligible for a certificate. So you see, you're always guided, you guys. You're always guided. We just, as humans, we jump to our first line of defense or answers. Like, oh, let me call this family member because I know they may have it. Or, oh, let me borrow it from this person because I know they may have it. Oh, let me go do, like we jump into action of what the response and answer should be. We've always been like that because why? We've always been in survival mode. That's not the timeline we're in now. Survival mode is gone. That's not what we're doing now. We're not in survival mode. We're in guidance mode. We're into intuition mode. We're into let the divine guidance show you the direction to go to and the answers to your questions. That's where we are now. We tried to do that in the past. Remember, we like, okay, I'm gonna pray on it. Remember, we'll say I'm praying on it. That same example I gave you. You'll pray on it on Monday, and Tuesday you'll be trying to ask somebody to borrow it, right? Because that's what you think God will give you the person where is gonna loan you the money. That's what we would do. So we started out doing it right. We would pray on it. We would ask, but then we would move into action. Right? Because it's survival mode. We got to hurry up because we only got a certain number of days. We wouldn't sit in it and listen for the guidance. We wouldn't wait. I'm a victim of it too. I always used to do that. Always. I am so in a place now of being divinely guided. I don't even think half the time. Most of the time, if it's something where that requires me to problem solve and I tried it and I can't figure it out, I always go, oh well, Spirit, it's on you. Just show me what I gotta do. Let me know when you figure it out. That's how you have to be now. Literally, when you do that, it will lead you. It will always lead you, but you got to let go, you got to release, and then allow it to come and be shown to you. That's the hard part. That's what I find in all of my sessions. And let me tell you guys something. If you're liking this information and it's resonating, please click the like button. Like for me. Thank you. I keep forgetting to do that. But I'm noticing in my sessions, the releasing is so difficult for everybody because you can't release because you're so scared that the outcome is not going to be the way you want it to be. And you need it to be the way you want it to be. So you got to hold on. You got to control it. You got to make it happen. And more often than not, you just interfere and reroute and redirect everything that is coming towards you in your way. I challenge you guys with that task. When you find yourself, I use the task of money. It doesn't have to be money. It could be relationships. It could be things relating to your career or your health. Or anything where you say, I don't know what else to do. I don't have the answer. I need some assistance and some guidance. Show me which direction to go and what I need to do. I'm all ears. It will more than likely, if you can't get it in your waking state because you have so much resistance, it's coming in your sleep. That answer is coming. It's coming and it's coming in hot all the time now. Because you guys got to understand that's what this timeline is. What's your shifting timelines? What would be the purpose of shifting timelines if everything was going to stay the same? Think about it. Doesn't make sense, right? So now you have to be in the mindset and move like you're in a new timeline. You keep doing stuff the same way you've been doing it, you're going to keep getting the same answers and the same outcome that you've been getting. So this timeline demands that you shift, not just this, but you got to shift your whole way of thinking, feeling, and being so that you can get the outcome that you ain't never got before. Ever, never, ever. Questions, you guys, so far? Questions. Let's see. Intuitive Warrior says, I think lots of AI beings are in the mix too. That's why we're starting to notice. Yeah, there are a lot of AI beings in the mix. A lot of them. Everybody's all into the clones, right? Everybody's like, oh, that person's a clone. This person's a clone. That person's a clone. How y'all gonna be able to tell the difference between a clone and not? That's what I'm gonna ask y'all. How will you discern that? Because that will be the next big one that everybody will be trying to, kind of talk. Well, we're talking about it now. But we got all these different kind of things happening down here right now. So your radar, your antenna has got to stay up, and you have got to not doubt yourself, because your higher self is going to be guiding, assisting, directing, and telling you some of this stuff. And you got to be like, okay, I got it. Instead of going, oh, what? Why did I think that? Oh, no, that's not right. I must be that. That's how we do. Don't do that. Just say, okay, I got it. Questions so far. You guys have been a good audience. Look at the chat. It's growing. It's quite a few of you guys in here. Questions. Come on, y'all. We're talking about shifting timelines, because we are on a new timeline now. And I told you guys I've been talking about these portals so much. I'm going to take a break today, but we're in the Lionsgate portal till August 12th. And that's a whole nother portal of stuff going on and happening. And I want you guys to be aware of that, but I ain't gonna talk about that today. I gotta get you guys in your place of awareness of what is happening as a result of the last portal openings and the shifting that we're doing. Everybody with me? Okay. Good deal. Okay, so again, if this information resonates with you, please like it. Let's see. Chosen Battle Goddess says, are we releasing and manifesting? Honey, we have been releasing. We have been releasing for a couple of decades now, but more so in the last decade. The manifesting part is where we're trying to really get into now, because we're now understanding that the more lower vibrational energy that we release, the more higher frequency energy, aka our manifestations, can make their way towards us. And so a lot of our lower vibrational frequencies come from what? Childhood traumas. So we're now getting in the mindset and the awareness of what these traumas look like, and we're hitting them. We're hitting them off at the past now. And so we're able to keep our frequency higher, longer, so that we can be in the awareness and understanding of pulling in what we're trying to attract. And so we are releasing and manifesting. Yes, we are. But as a result of these portals opening, they cause us to be in a heightened state of release and manifest. So yes, we are definitely in that. This is manifesting information too. Absolutely, Winter. This is all manifesting information. Because what is manifestation? Manifesting, my light changed on me. Manifestation is you attracting and pulling in your heart's desires energetically. You are a match. You are in alignment with what you're trying to attract. How do you get there? By removing those lower frequencies, vibrational frequencies that are causing you to have blockages and to be out of alignment. So all of this fits together. And Intuitive Warrior says, manifest from love and not fear. There's absolutely no way to manifest from fear unless you want to manifest more fear, because that's what fear does, attract more fear. So we have to be in a higher state of frequency to attract in our heart's desires, because we don't want more fear, right? You're welcome, Chosen Battle Goddess. Elisa says, if we are in a place of release, what does it mean when people from the past keep coming to the surface trying to say hi? They're trying to show you let me back that up. They're not coming from the past. You're pulling them from the past so that you can close out the past. If they're truly in the past, and they come in just to say hi, it'll be just that, a hi and a bye. and that's it. No more of it. If it's still a big to do when they come in to say hello, then that's why they keep coming up, because you ain't fully released all the emotional attachment to that person. Okay? Because if you have released all of it and there's no emotional attachment to it, they can come and say hi and it won't faze you. So you're constantly being put in a place of, let's see if you're going to attach and attract, or are you going to detach and release? Where are you? And so I always look at when people come to me that I know I have detached from, I used to look at it as a test. I used to be like, okay, let me see how I can function with this person. If they gonna still piss me off, or if I can be in my peaceful place of being and coexist with them and, be okay. If I can coexist and be okay, I've released all the attachment. But if it still gets me pissed off when they come around, I still got work to do. That's why this is still coming into me. And sometimes they're coming just so your higher self could show you your progress. It can show you, look, you did it. You've achieved it. So it's not a bad thing when these people come back into your life and you're at a higher place of being. Sometimes it's just to show you how well you have progressed. Don't make it more than that, than what it is. Don't attach any more emotion to it that needs to. So it's a good benchmark for you to see where you are. That's exactly what it's for. That we create according to the frequency we are. Absolutely, intuitive order. Absolutely. I can't tell you how much all my life I realized I was at a state of fear. I was living fear-based. I think we all were, right? From the time I went through all of my educational career, all the way to my professional career, all the way to relationships, like dating, and I was always in fear. Let me tell you, in school, I'm afraid I'm not gonna make the honor roll. Then you get into relationships, high school. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose the person, or another girl gonna take them. Then you go into work, into your career. Oh, I'm afraid I'm not gonna, progress or move up the ladder or make enough money. Like everything was fear-based. Everything was fear-based because that's how we're programmed. And so I wish now my older, more aware self existed when I was younger. Oh my gosh, life would have been so much more fun, and I think it would have been not more simpler, but I could have flowed through it a lot better, which is what this new tier that's coming in is doing. They're kind of flowing because they're not putting as much pressure and emphasis on that structure that we did, because the timeline's different. Okay, we're trained to be afraid. Absolutely. So we're moving out of that. I mean, I just know in my generation and throughout life, when you get a certain age, then the fear became death. Isn't it always something to be afraid of? If you think about it, if you allow it, you will always be in fear about something. Always. Unless you step into the mindset. Y'all, once y'all step into the mindset, death doesn't exist. Money isn't real. Time isn't real. Hell, none of us are even real. When you get to that place and you can just release and you can sit back and say, whatever happens, happens. Freedom! That's freedom, y'all. That is freedom. And that collectively is where we got to get to. But we get so many distractions. We get so many distractions in our day-to-day life and in the media that will throw us off of it at a moment's notice. At a moment's notice. Goodness gracious. Okay, questions, comments. We're talking about shifting timelines tonight. If you like this discussion and it's resonating and assisting you, please give it a thumbs up. Intuitive Warrior says she just turned 60 and happy as she's ever been. Even to this world, crazy we chose it. I know. I saw, I was looking at another content creator's stuff, and I was like, oh wow, her stuff is so polished. It looks so nice. Like her YouTubes look so professional, like could be on a network, and I was getting a little discouraged at first. So I went to read about her a little bit, and I'm like, oh wow, she has like a really staunch business background. Like, you know, it explained like everything in her presentation and her persona was very businesslike and professional. And you know, for a minute I was looking at myself going, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Then I stopped. Let me tell you, my more aware self, this is how you do in life when everything is fear-based or you feel intimidated by things, because intimidation is fear too. It's all fear. I'm at a place in my awareness and I say, Dawn, what are you doing, girl? That's not who you are at all. I have never been businessy, or I've never been what's the word for, y'all know, I don't, no offense to the people who work in business, but it's a different environment, right? You got to be just a little different as it relates to business and Fortune 500 companies and all. Like, that's just not my personality. I am so like loose with it and free and down to earth and just I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't say that, because people in business be like, I'm down to earth, but y'all know what I mean. It's not who I am. And for a minute I was like, well, maybe I should do that. And then I was like, girl, do who you are, do you. And so you got to get to that place, that awareness, when you realize everybody's in their lane. Everybody's doing what is in alignment with their soul's journey and what they came to do and what they have done in previous lifetimes. So you just got to step into it and own it and love it and embrace it, because at the end of the day, it's really only you here anyway. All of us are just projections of you. So I just wanted to tell you guys that, because in this spiritual journey, you're going to compare yourself to other people, especially if you're associated with other spiritual people. Oh my goodness, you're going to forever be looking at yourself like you're behind, or you're not, you know, where the person is. Not like, don't do that. Don't make yourself get tricked or fooled into that whole way of thinking and being, because remember, it's only one you. You were created to do something specific to you that nobody else can do or be. And that's all it is. That's all it is. Okay, questions. This has been good. I covered what I wanted to cover and then some. Y'all, I went off the grid a little bit. You know me. I wasn't on the grid tonight, but that's okay. We got to do that sometimes. I told you guys on my last live, I'm mixing up this format. Sometimes it'll be me. Sometimes I'll have guests. You know, I'm going to be incorporating a lot more videos from the people who are having experiences. I mean, no, I'm not saying I won't get people who maybe publish things or, you know, are experts, consider experts or gurus and certain things. I mean, that's great, but my thing is the people having the experiences, the everyday people who are out here having the experiences, sharing their experiences, asking the questions, being open to the variability of what is happening and how we're perceiving it. I like that, you guys. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's the mystic in me that loves to look at everybody's journey and how everybody is taking their different routes to get to where they're going. So just stay with me. If you guys are new, if this is the first time, come back. Maybe you'll like it the next time again. And for those of you who keep coming, please come. Please keep coming. I appreciate your support. I can only do it if you guys come or somebody watches it. How about that? Okay. I just want to let you guys know, for those of you who are looking to have one-on-one spiritual coaching sessions, there is a coupon code that is out that expires today, July 31st. And the promo code for that is spiritual, all caps, 2023. So spiritual, then 2023. If you're interested in a one-on-one spiritual coaching session where you meet your spirit guides, you interact with them, you get the guidance that they're trying to give you, you can ask questions, all of that good stuff, go to my website and make sure you choose book online and choose spiritual coaching session, and use that code I just gave you, spiritual 2023. There's also another coupon code that expires today, July 31st, and it is for dream interpretation. So if you are having vivid dreams and you're not understanding the messages that your higher self and your spirit guides are trying to give you, make sure you go to my website, www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. Click on dream interpretation. Use that coupon code DREAM, DREAM 2023 2023. No spaces in any of it. And make sure you book that session. I'm getting a lot of dream interpretation clients. So a lot of you guys are starting to, it's the new timeline. You are now aware of this information that's coming in your dreams. You're seeing it. You're remembering it. Now you're trying to piece it together. What is the message? Absolutely, positively wonderful. Get into your spiritual connections and abilities because you guys are going to need them. You're going to be using them as we progress on down the line, like we just talked about in this live, some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. And so your discernment and connection to your higher self, your inner self, your spirit guides and spirit team is going to be very, very important. Very, very important, okay? All right, so you guys have been awesome. Please, if you don't follow me on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, make sure you do that. The links, Discovering Your Inner Light, same all across the board. I will be doing, I'm thinking, I did live spiritual coaching sessions last Thursday on Instagram, and the week before that I did live dream interpretations on Instagram. So go over on Instagram and follow me at Discovering Your Inner Light, because who knows what I'm going to do on these Thursdays. It's whatever I'm spiritually led to do. But these lives have been very much so at the forefront now of my journey on this new timeline. So just make sure you guys follow me and join me. And if you don't want to go live, just watch other people who get the coaching sessions. I think you'll learn and get something from it as well. So you guys in the chat, you're all thanking me. You are all so welcome. Again, thank you guys for coming. Oh, and you guys, I can monetize now. Woohoo! I got the little dollar sign at the bottom. So if you guys ever, feel compelled to donate, I don't know how it works, you guys. I haven't gotten a donation yet. So I'll see how it works when somebody gives something. but until then, I just want to make sure you guys knew it's there now. YouTube, let me tell you how this new timeline is. So I kept saying, oh my God, you got to have 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers to be able to monetize. Well, y'all, I finally got to 500. Then I got to 600. I'm almost at 7. I was like, okay, 300 more. Okay, I'm going to get there. Didn't YouTube say they changed the requirements now? All you need is 500 subscribers. Woo! So see what I mean? See how them timelines, see you jump and stuff start lining up, and you don't have to go about doing things the way you were doing them. See, that's how this new timeline do you. It changes your way of thinking and doing. We did it the old way. The old way was the hard, long, confusing way. We got to let these timelines guide us. Let this new frequency get us on into alignment. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought you'd get a kick out of that. So again, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I will see you next Monday, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube.